Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the TXR Podcast. This is episode number 126, the absolute best place on a Sunday night for gaming talk, where we talk about Xbox and all kinds of topics and games from across the gaming industry. I'm your host, Invader, and I'm really looking forward to get into all the topics tonight. But before we get into them, let me introduce tonight's panel going forward. Jeremy, buddy, what's new and exciting?
What's a cracking? How you doing? How's my Canadian connection doing?
It's like doing pretty well, bud. Like everybody in a bit of a lockdown, right? And a little bit of self-isolating.
Have you been catching up on your games?
Well, to be honest, I've been working quite a bit, but I've been doing some gaming too. Obviously, I've been putting a lot of time into Doom Eternal.
Ooh, good game.
Ooh, have you gone into that?
I did, but I only played like a couple of, an hour or two.
Ooh,
very good game though.
Extremely
well put together, beautiful game.
It definitely gets better as time goes on, and I've only scratched the surface, only a couple of levels in, but man, what a game! It's looking like my game of the year already. Let's get into somebody else. Shock Buddy, hey, happy birthday! How you been, bud? Have you been celebrating and self-isolating, I guess?
Yeah, it was a really great birthday. It was
sarcasm.
It's pretty good. I've been trying to play Animal Crossing, but I'm like, I don't know what to do. There's I'm trying to get more materials. Like even the characters in the game, the other neighbors, they already have a house already. I still have a tent. I'm like, where did you get the blueprints? How do you get the blueprints? Are they time traveling too? What the
you gotta go back. You got to go back to Nook. So you go back to Nook.
I keep talking to him. He's like, "Okay, what do you want? You got a creature for me?" That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did you keep
giving him? Yeah.
Shit. Keep handing him over the creatures.
What the? How many fish do I gotta get? I'm like, what? There's
just give him a mixture. Just give him a mixture of things. Stop complaining and give him a mixture of things, and then he's gonna open up the museum, and then from there is. The rest
all of a
history.
Sudden, I do not feel bad for investing years of my life into Elder Scrolls Online.
You shouldn't.
I'm just trying to enjoy it like everybody else because I see all this cool shit. People got dojos and samurai gear and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have anything.
I've thought about buying that game for my wife, honestly.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool game, but you also have to play it at certain times of day, really. So since it's real time.
Well, why don't you just cheat and speed up the time and go in there and alter the clock?
I feel like that just kind of makes it all pointless. If you're just if you just do that.
All right.
But
I guess so.
Jumping back in that and Ori back and forth, but
I'm almost finished with Ori. Almost. With the last level.
Yeah. Oh, it's very good. Well, I tell you, I was really into that, but then Doom came along and it's been eating up my time, and I really want to get back into Ori and the Will of the Wisps because, that game, it is so gorgeous and it plays so well. Kudos to Moon Studios.
You're gorgeous. Yes.
I hope you mean that. Don't toy with my heart like that, Jeremy. Come on. Alrighty, and hey, Centurion buddy, how are you doing? You keeping busy over there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm actually one of the ones that still get to able to go to work. So outside of work, I'm just sitting at home tackling the backlog. I'm currently playing Mafia 3. I've burned through Hitman 1, Hitman 2. I'm trying to see how many games I can actually burn through as quick as I can, on top of getting back on top of making content on a regular basis, because you guys know what I'm talking about, but I've now had some time free up to where I could start concentrating on stuff Monday through Friday.
I'll believe it when I see it. I think you're procrastinating, but still, you go at it, buddy. All you do, you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the motivation there. You know what? Now, oh my God.
I'm just kidding, Centurion.
No, you're perfectly right.
Well, Well, you must have a few ideas cooking up
Oh,
there.
I've got stuff. It's just my God. I've spent some extra time with my wife. It's cool being at home, spending some extra time with the wife, watching movies. And then, yes, I got distracted by games. I just wanted to have some good hardcore gaming.
Now, what kind of movies have you been watching? I'm curious now.
Oh, God. The other night we actually watched Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman.
What a great movie.
That's actually a good movie. It's actually a good movie. And the funny part is, though, I told my wife, I was like, look, this is what people are like imagining this situation turning into. Like, just don't for 1 second think that it's going to be like that. Oh, my God.
Have you seen Contagion?
No, I have not seen Contagion.
Even more relatable to what's going on now.
Dude, you want to talk about what?
Yeah, I got to see that now. What Shockley was talking about. Everyone's been talking about it.
Yeah, is that one on Netflix too?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is. I'm pretty sure.
You want to talk about
people were watching it.
You want to talk about hitting the nail on the head, calling it really good. Let's talk about Ubisoft and The Division 1. Go back and watch some of those trailers. That'll definitely
it's eye-opening.
This is definitely a sobering thing.
You're just like, New York right now.
Dude.
I think if I do that, I'd start drinking. I don't drink, but I think I start drinking.
Dude, and the crazy and anyways,
soon I heard they might be locking them down.
No, they are for sure gonna be in a 2-week lockdown.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm just like, oh my God, we got The Division literally unfolding right now. And freaking, I'll just say it right now, freaking hearts, prayers, whatever you believe in, let's hope that situation over there improves quickly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Now, everyone, before we get into our first discussion point of the evening, I would like to make an announcement to our listeners, make you guys aware about our latest giveaway. We are giving away a digital copy of Resident Evil 3 for Xbox One. Now, head over to our Twitter account and look at the pinned tweet at the top on how to enter. Our contest ends Thursday, April 9th. We cannot wait to give this away to some lucky fella.
Now, have you guys played the demo yet?
No, I have not had the chance yet.
You can download the demo right now on Xbox, and I think the system is new. I mean, as far as what engine they're using, so it looks gorgeous. It's really well made. It's a beautiful game. So go download it now and play Resident Evil 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's funny because not a lot of games, we don't get a lot of demos as we used to, so I just don't really keep an eye on it anymore. But, I will definitely give it a shot. Shizno Elite is saying that the Resident Evil 3 demo is great, so I might just have to download it after the show.
Yeah, it's a pretty long and lengthy download, too. I mean, I'm sorry, it's, the level's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I will definitely take you up on that. And you know what? On that note, guys, let's kick things right into gear. And Ninja Theory's latest game is officially out now in the wild. The multiplayer game Bleeding Edge is finally released. And so far it's getting, a lot of mixed reviews and comments. I've been seeing a lot of back and forth about it. Guys, we've talked about Bleeding Edge before since the early betas. What are your thoughts on the final product? Is this a hit or a miss?
Wow.
I haven't actually played it, so can't really. I mean, it looks like kind of like a Sea of Thieves situation. Just in the sense that this one, I think Microsoft was seeing it as Sea of Thieves. What they did, they kind of put that on Game Pass, I think, just because how that was going and how their whole games department was going. But I think they saw this as an opportunity. Hey, you want to finish that passion project that you had, mostly done? Okay, here's an actual good avenue. We'll let you release it here and then kind of grow it over time and kind of build up a following, since it's kind of like a smaller, 13-person team. So yeah, I think it's average. Even the harshest critics, most of them are saying it's it's a mid-tier game, but it has a lot of potential. So they see, hey, if it's built on, hey, this could be something that's pretty decent. We're pretty good.
Yeah, I think the core experience is there. I mean, it's a fun game. It's fun to play. But that's about it. I think you nailed it on the head when you said, it feels a lot like Sea of Thieves, and it feels bare bones, to put it lightly. I like some of the stuff they did with the intro, that wasn't in the beta, but all the stuff we spoke about in previous iteration of the podcast, it looks like didn't make it into the final version.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because the betas were like, well, I hope they address this and that.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I was hoping that they would have increased the pace of the gameplay, because I remember us discussing this about, because of the hoverboards, right? We thought, they're a little slow, and I'm like, oh,
well, in general, the game's slow, even without the, when you're off the hoverboard, it's slow.
Right. And just to get into the action, I thought, okay, they might have increased the speed or the movement. And like, I played the game, I downloaded it again, and I was looking forward to seeing the improvements. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm not really seeing a whole lot. Like, Shock, I know you haven't played it. Jeremy, I know you have. And really, I'm not seeing a whole lot that was really improved from these betas.
Yeah, I think more importantly, you look at a game like Overwatch, right? It has a real strategic, real strategic gameplay moments, and I don't think Overwatch has it. As far as strategy wise, and it has a lot to do with level design. There's something to be.
Did you
left.
say Overwatch doesn't have it, or you mean Bleeding Edge?
I'm sorry, Bleeding Edge. Thank you for correcting. Thank you for correcting me, but Overwatch has great strategic combat in it, and it's fun and it's fluid and there's different variety. I don't think there's too much variety in this particular game.
I see. Oh my god! Now with Shockley said, when all the reviewers were saying the game is about average, and it has potential, is that? See, that's where I'm starting to wonder. Please, I'm not harping on the whole Xbox has no games thing. This is just kind of playing devil's advocate, but is a game that has potential, I guess, what you were looking for, or would you prefer a more finished product?
I prefer a more finished product.
Yeah,
absolutely. Who wouldn't want a more finished product?
Well, and that's where I'm just saying, like, that's where I'm not trying to be like, the whole thing that Xbox continuously releases games, but that's where, I don't want to be hard on them, but I guess I'm just going to blatantly say it. Is this just Xbox releasing another game to fill the gap, or do you think they're going to start?
Both Sony and Microsoft do it, even though people say Sony doesn't do the same shit, but they did, because they just fully funded the Hunting Grounds Predator game, which is even PlayStation fans are saying is absolute trash.
Oh, really?
So, it's like BG on a Weapon Wheel podcast. He was talking about, like, no, I played both, because he reviewed and played a lot of Bleeding Edge. He's like, no, that game is complete garbage, not even close. It's trash, but see, that's the thing. They get a pass because they did have some good games, so people just completely ignore that.
Okay.
But that's where Microsoft needs to get. They don't have those games, so they can't really just like, hey, you can't just let one slide. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you saw the new Hellblade. Like, obviously it's not actual gameplay, but like, you see they're not going for a cartoony game like people are like scared about. They're going for, like, the facial animations you saw in her face were way more than anything that, like, Last of Us that I've played so far, of like the original Last of Us. Like, you just see her face moving. If they can get that in a game, like, that was unreal.
No, I can definitely stand behind, though, that when it comes to Bleeding Edge, I played the beta. I still have yet to download the actual game and actually see this intro you guys are talking about, because that's what it was. During the beta, I wasn't blown away, so it was kind of one of those games where I do want to check it out again, but because I was tackling other games, I never did.
And my problem is it has only 2 game modes, and they're already starting to feel old. It's the power collecting one, and depositing one is just, it's weak. It is weak, and I think it feels like almost like a soft launch rather than a full release, a la, Sea of Thieves, another Sea of Thieves moment right here. So they need to do so. I think they need to do something to make sure that these games are polished and that they feel polished and that they're complete. And it's almost, I mean, they're missing the mark on every single game except probably Ori and the Will of the Wisps at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a bad string of games. Even Gears of War 5 didn't live up to expectations. Not even close.
Mm-hmm. Now, question in the chat, guys, from Dinero Primero. Do you think some gamers want more of a finished product because they're just older style gamers?
No.
I actually think the vocal minority are the older gamers. I'm gonna be upfront, man. Look at how much money Fortnite is making, and we're talking one game mode, same thing over and over again. Now I understand there's different play styles.
No,
I meant like one map.
Okay, but the underlining thing of that is when you look at Minecraft games like Minecraft and Fortnite, there's an underlining depth to those games it's unmatched, which is why they're extremely popular, and Bleeding Edge just doesn't have that. Sea of Thieves just doesn't have that. Those games are super popular worldwide because of it, because of that underlining depth. No matter what you think about, the one map or the same character, the same gameplay, Fortnite's different every single time you play. There's different things that you can do, but the gameplay is so polished, and the how can I put it? Again, that underlining depth is there that people gravitate towards it and they want to play it nonstop.
Well, I guess I just read an article this morning that said Ninja and another streamer are actually getting others together on actually asking to have the original map brought back, and they feel like that this season 2 or whatever they got going on with Fortnite is actually getting pretty played out. They're not getting content as much as they used to.
Yeah. And I think part of that is due to they're just milking it now. I mean, Fortnite made so much money. Why wouldn't you want to milk it? Sit back and just collect that money. You know what I mean? At some point, it's just.
Yeah. Now, Jeremy, I have to ask, during your playtime, was there any characters that you specifically liked, or you just not like any of them?
You know what? I did like I forget his name. The samurai character is pretty good. The guitar player is pretty good. I mean, other than that, there's I gravitate like Overwatch, for example. I'm going to use that again. There's great characters in Overwatch. It makes you want to play the game, and again, Ninja Theory's effort doesn't have that. So, it's just going back to the thing. You got to create something that appeals to people if they're going to start playing these games. And, again, Bleeding Edge just doesn't have it.
Because in these types of games, I usually gravitate towards ranged characters. And I had made a mention of that before. What was it? I was playing as, what's her name? The ranged female character, forget her name. That's not Gidget.
Yeah,
you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just felt that her range was a bit off, and obviously the game is meant to be played more close quarters, but I just felt like the range characters, they don't really offer that much, and you're really forced to get in close, and then you're kind of sacrificing yourself. And then the range characters, I like the guitar character as well. I thought he had a lot of personality to him. But some of these characters I felt were just kind of janky. I didn't really like the way that they played personally.
Well, this is the problem. You have a close quarters combat games type game. You should have combos. You should have different weapons that you can use, and maybe that's going to be later on. But right now, it just feels like it's not as strategic as it could be. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to kind of defend Ninja Theory, to be that guy that plays the opposite. can you blame them for releasing a game that needs some work, especially when it comes to character design? When you see games like Rainbow Six Siege that continuously go in and tweak the actual operators of the game, improving them, nerfing them, buffing them, whatever they got to do to help the situation. And it's definitely something Ninja Theory will probably do going forward as time goes on.
Yeah, they use that blueprint, and you're absolutely right. Rainbow Six was released in a pathetic state, and I think this is the same situation. So I hope it just gets better. That's what I want. I hope it gets better, and I hope that they make the necessary adjustments for the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Centurion, you're absolutely right.
And the thing is, I'm not trying to take a dive on the game. I actually, even though I just said a few criticisms, I actually like how the game looks. I think there is something there. It has a unique look to it. It has a lot of nice details to it. The music, and it's actually really nice. The themes going out through the game. And yeah, I mean, I do think that they could really build from this. It's just what we have right now. There is a severe lack of content, whether it be characters, maps, and what Jeremy was saying, game modes, right? You need some variety to keep you in there.
Yeah. See, and I actually like the teamwork aspect of the game. I like how it's actually something that's each character is supposed to support and kind of build off of the other characters around them.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but isn't it fair to say that every battle game like that has the same concept?
See, that's the only thing. I've played a lot of Overwatch, and I have been in situations where people just start going off as Hanzo or the snipers, and they're just on the rooftops the whole game. They're in the background. They're doing their own thing. And it actually, it creates an experience that, sometimes gets aggravating when you keep losing matches because people just refuse to not cooperate or work together. They're kind of pushing their kill to death ratio, where a game like this, it's more in your face. I wish the level design or the map design was a little bit more close quartered. I don't think something that is supposed to be in your face close quarters should be in a I don't even like that it's even in an arena, because Overwatch, it's not in an arena. You're in neighborhoods, you're in close corridors, you're in small buildings, all sorts of different areas for level design, and they're all close quartered. They're not these giant open arenas that everybody just spreads out in. And at that, because there was times I was playing Bleeding Edge and I felt like I was just chasing people.
Yeah.
That's fair. Now, did this game come out too late? Because I'm just talking about the type of game that it is, because there's lots of hero multiplayer games and a bunch have failed. I mean, obviously we're just talking about Overwatch, and it is monumental. It's a mammoth of a title. You had other games come out. What was it? Battleborn, for example, that came out around the same time. It kind of failed. You had Lawbreakers by Cliffy B, and that one took a nosedive. And there's been a couple of others too. But do you guys think that this title is too late in the game, or do you think that
no, because it does something different. Like I said, the close quarters combat. But you could say, you can argue that it came out the right time with this outbreak. Everybody's playing games right now, so
that Nick having been on Game Pass.
Yeah, but didn't they say player count was actually low considering how many people are on?
I only heard the Steam player count, but
I only heard the Steam one too. I know Xbox was.
Dude, Xbox is freaking
it was out of control. Did
you guys? Oh, wait a minute, that came off the DM. That's right, that article I saw.
There's more people playing games now than ever.
You can't find a Switch.
Yeah, you can't find a Switch. PlayStations are hard to come by. Well, not hard to come by, but
you can't even buy Joy-Cons on Amazon.
Hey, stop. You're giving GameStop fuel for the fire on the whole essential business. There's some GameStop rep right now going see, we're essential. These people need Joy-Cons.
When some people get their their check, here shortly, in 3 weeks. They're gonna have a hard time spending that. No, maybe they
checks
save
coming.
those
So I'm
checks
still
are
working
coming.
full time, so those checks are gonna look nice.
Dude, oh my god, my wife sits on TikTok all the time and watches these videos, and what people are doing what people are doing in quarantine. I watched a guy literally waste $300 in tinfoil for what? How long is a TikTok? 10, 15 seconds?
Oh, I saw this one. It was a
What
chameleon.
did he do?
He tinfoiled a room, top to bottom, floor, ceiling, the bed, everything in it. Like, I mean, like tinfoiled everything. And like he put like a little caption on it. It's like, I just wasted like almost $300 in tinfoil. Please like this video. And I'm just like, you are in the middle of a pandemic where some supplies are running short, and you probably just went to your local grocery store and bought all their damn tinfoil to do this.
Well, people aren't doing that because they're bored. They're doing it to get clicks and video likes, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, as long as you're not licking toilet seats, that's.
Did you see that?
Oh,
no wonder there's a goddamn pathetic.
I did want to say, and I just linked it in the chat to a tweet where they made a video of a chameleon.
Uh-oh.
What was that, Shock?
Cash on him.
Oh.
And the chameleon grabs the cash.
You cut off.
Sorry, Shock. Say that again.
Oh, I linked it there in the chat. But it's a link to a tweet where they have a chameleon, pet chameleon, climbing up like I think it's like maybe a tripod or something, but it looks like it's supposed to be a stripper, and they're making it rain on the chameleon. And the chameleon's grabbing the money at the end, sliding down the pole.
That's funny.
Well, hey, when you're bored, you do a lot of weird, crazy things, and hey, people have a lot of time on their hands, right? So, well, quarantine will do that to you.
Gamers, if you think about it, gamers are in quarantine regardless. They always keep they're always home playing games all day. So, in a sense, we're used to it already. 'Cause we just play games, but no, that's a joke. But it's unfortunate we can't. We don't have our lives back yet. So,
absolutely. But guys, just to close off the Bleeding Edge topic, I think that will turn into a good game. It just needs the content. Hopefully they have some coming through the pipeline.
Why does that seem like it's awfully familiar? Oh, that's right. Sea of Thieves. Yeah.
Your favorite game? You and Megatron?
No, not.
Well, yeah, no, I totally understand your comment. And the thing with Sea of Thieves, though, at least it had the marketing behind it. Bleeding Edge, I'm not seeing that as much, so I would like them to push it a little bit more than they have been.
Yeah, the marketing, it got destroyed publicly. That game, I'm surprised it's even mildly successful because it got destroyed online and on Twitter and everything. I don't want to talk about Sea of Thieves anymore.
Oh, did you hear about the new update?
No.
well, I'm going to tell you. All right, guys, tell you what, we're going to move on to our next topic. And could Xbox Game Studios titles get delayed because of the virus going around? Well, it's hard to say, but Xbox head Matt Booty stated the importance of keeping everyone at Xbox Game Studios safe and healthy. As well, he talked about the difficulties facing the studios, as these are multiple studios in different countries around the world. Now, he said that while Xbox is committed to delivering the highest quality Xbox Game Studios games, he's working with studio heads to determine what works best for their employees and with their games that they're working on. So to sum it up, nothing is delayed just yet, guys, but I have to ask you all, do you think that some Xbox exclusive will eventually get pushed back? Because depending on the studio location and the level of the outbreaks, we really don't know what's going to happen here. So, could it hamper some studios? Could we see some games get pushed back?
Can I hop on this?
Yes, sir.
Possibly.
All right. So, games that you could probably code from home, there's ways around that. obviously I understand that, who wants to have all their code on computers out in the wild and you can't keep track of everything. So you're going to have definitely a close select few that you can trust with that kind of stuff. But for me, the games that are really going to be affected are games that are using motion capture animation, like that was used in Gears 4, Gears 5, the stuff where you go in and they draw the dots all over your face and they act out these scenes. And, if you look at how some of this stuff done, it's done in very close quarters, people touching each other, acting out these action scenes and stuff like that's a big no-no right now. So anything that uses stop motion capture animation, that game is definitely probably being put on a massive hold unless they have all the motion capture already done.
I know Halo 5 had mocap, so isn't it safe to say that Halo Infinite could be on the target?
Now, mocap is going to be probably some of the first stuff you get when you start production, once you get past pre-production. So with Halo Infinite, like literally supposed to coming out this holiday season, there is a big chance that they already have their motion capture already done. Because if you look at some of these movies, like, these big, like, let's look at Lord of the Rings, for example. The entire Lord of the Rings trilogy was actually filmed in a 3-month period of time. All those movies were rolled out over a 3-year period of time. And, the first movie had to be edited. And sometimes it takes like, almost longer to edit the movie than it does to film it.
Yep.
So.
Good point.
Yeah. Well, we already see a large number of movies getting delayed, movies that are either finished. There were some movies that were supposed to come out this month, but they got pushed back. And even
there's some movies that are releasing digitally.
So those are the ones that were already in theaters, supposed to be coming out, like the new Vin Diesel movie, the new one from DreamWorks.
I hear that Ben Affleck one's supposed to be good.
Which one?
It's called A Way Back or The Way Back. Ben Affleck. I think he did it too.
I think I've heard that one. Yeah. But yeah, all these movies are having to come out. But let's look at franchises that were able to kind of delay their stuff. The new Fast and the Furious movie was actually already being advertised, supposed to come out May of this year, and they full blown were like, nope, May 2021. The movie is being delayed a full year.
Wow.
Yeah, well, the Bond movie was supposed to come out in April, and I think it got postponed to November.
Yeah. Well, because they can't, dude. The box office is where they recover the money. Like, dude, DVD sales, that's like frosting on top of a very large cake. It ain't nothing compared to what they will lose out if they don't get those movies in theaters. And the only problem is once this whole event is kind of like slowly passing us by. Like, look at some of the articles that are coming out of China right now from the epicenter of this whole situation. The people are just now being allowed to go outside, and they're full blown cautious, paranoid. So it's like, our entire entertainment industry is just, we've got a long road ahead.
And I think that's why it's being delayed until next year, as far as the Fast and the Furious series.
Yeah, any of these big franchises, all your summer blockbusters next year, guaranteed.
Yep.
Now stores are going to close down once we come out of this. Just stores, retail stores in general, just be going out of business.
Now, obviously, these are movies that were already in production. They were about to release. There are even some studios that are just holding back their production because obviously nobody wants to, work while this is going on. I think you had Marvel Studios. They shut down right now. Basically, them all. So I think there might be a period of time where we might not have a lot of movies coming out.
And if you think about it, it's kind of a catch-22. You know what? And what I mean by that is, at what point do we let fear dictate our lives? This virus isn't going to go away overnight. It's going to be probably a year until we create a vaccine, right? So at what point do we say, hey, you know what? We're going to live our lives the way we want to live it, and we can't just sit in our homes all day. And because we'll be in the same situation the entire country will collapse. So if you think about it, it's a catch-22. What do you do? Have you thought about that?
I mean, I've seen the numbers of if we never did a quarantine, like the amount of deaths.
I'm not saying not do a quarantine. I'm saying, be responsible and do what you need to do to take care of yourself and take care of other people. What I'm saying is, at what point do we get our lives back? That's the ultimate question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good question to put out there, and I wish I had an answer for that personally, but we just got to take it.
Anybody, Centurion, you want to chime in on that one? I'm curious to.
I don't know when we're gonna get our lives back. I'm a numbers guy. If you want me to know, I'm kind of like saying this whole situation, at least over here in the northern hemisphere, when it comes to America, maybe even Canada. Probably looking about June, July is when you're going to see a lot of peaking, and then it'll probably level off, kind of like what we've seen in China and Italy, where you're seeing peaking. It's not going down, but peaking is you're at the top of that roller coaster ride, just waiting for the drop. So,
people have either had it and it didn't really affect them, and they've just kind of passed it on.
What I'm saying is in June or July, when we finally, theoretically get our lives back, we're going to be in the same boat because people are going to go out and they're going to get sick again until that vaccine comes.
Mm-hmm. See, true. I don't. Yeah, you can't say that it's going to be gone for sure.
Our best.
It's not going to be gone.
Malaria. Hopefully they work, but because the vaccine's not coming anytime soon, it's not.
So I ask you this question: at what point do you stop living your life in fear, and then whatever you're a big war guy. You know what I mean? Right, Centurion?
What do you mean by I'm a big war guy?
I'm sorry. You study war, and you know the history and behind it, and there's people fight. When they go out and fight for their country, they do it for different reasons. And, part of the reason is why, they want to take care of their brother. At the time it was, they want to take care of their fellow soldier. And the other reason was, to get home, to get back to their normal lives. And in a sense, with this virus, we're at war, and I know it's probably a bad analogy, but again, we are at war, trying to survive, so to speak. So at what point do we face our fears? People are going to die in the process if we just go about our daily lives. But at what point, you got to ask yourself, at what point do we get our lives back?
You're not going to have a concrete answer on that. And if you want me to be truthful, I really don't know what the best course of action is when it comes to, should we just go back to life as normal? Should we quarantine? I definitely agree that it should be kind of maybe something that should be dealt with on a state by state basis, depending on, what's going on. But then but it's involving with travel restrictions. People aren't really moving around very much. Yeah. So if it went back to normal, it could explode again. But definitely one thing that we can be taken from this is, you're talking about war. I was raised by a World War II vet. And, if we talk about D-Day and the mass amount of human life that was lost on D-Day and all that, it's sacrifice. And right now we're going through that sacrifice. We all need to be united as we do it. Mm-hmm. And one thing we could see is people evolve and change, kind of like what's going on with Xbox. Get this back to gaming, but we evolve and change. Like, look at the food industry right now. All of a sudden, everybody's like delivering food and all this other stuff. So once this all passes by, we're probably going to see some businesses actually change their business strategies because they found a different way of doing things during this. Sometimes you have to look at the picture in a more positive light, that this is going to change things. And in some ways it's going to change it positively.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys? I don't want to stay on this.
No, you're right. Let's get back to gaming.
But no. It's just because.
Oh yeah, you kind of had a gaming angle about it. Of like, if delays happen, like what's maybe like Microsoft's. Do they wait? Like, say if Sony has to postpone and push things back, if they got some things ready in short supply, do you make sure you hit that release and maybe if one of them delays. But
this is what I was talking about evolving. These companies are going to make it to where if they have to, they'll put a small freaking server in someone's freaking house so that way they can continue doing their job. I feel like we're probably going to see maybe game design actually happening a lot more at home. And what has to happen in a studio for motion capture or whatever else, or in an actual physical building, can be done differently. But it's actually showing these game companies that maybe we don't need these massive multi-million-dollar buildings to house all these employees in. We could actually have people working from home remotely doing certain things.
Well, that's the way Moon Studio works. Most of their game creation and game design is done, that way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Like, to be honest, I'm not too worried about anything getting delayed. I think most of the studios should already be like with the Series X coming at the end of the year. And by the way, from what I've been hearing, the productions of those should be okay. But as far as the actual studios go, the Xbox game studios, I would imagine that they'd be in pretty good positions. It really shouldn't affect them all that much, especially if you look at Halo Infinite. It's been in production for 4 or 5 years now. They should be pretty good. I would imagine Turn 10, whichever Forza title they're developing that's in the works, they've been working on it for about 3 years now. They should be in a good position.
I would think Halo Infinite's complete already. They're just polishing the game right now at this point. Who knows?
Well, one would hope, right?
Yep.
All right. But anyways, guys, I'm going to transition on to another bit of news. And honestly, this one, well, I don't want to say it's funny, but it's interesting. And it seems like somebody wants to get a giant wad of cash out of AMD and Microsoft. Mm-hmm. Now, a few days ago, AMD announced that there was, a bit of a security breach, you could say. A hacker is supposedly blackmailing them because they have information on AMD's GPUs, including the Arden GPU, which we are led to believe is what's being used in the Xbox Series X. And the hacker wants $100 million or else... Yes, and I say that with, by the way, a Dr. Evil little pinky finger by the mouth, Yeah. 1 million.
Come, Mr. Bigglesworth.
1 billion.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Mm-hmm. Throw me a freaking bone here, chat. But anyways, and apparently, if she doesn't get $100 million, she'll leak everything. Now, guys, if this is all true, do they need to lock down the security on this? Or, at least tell AMD to get their stuff and their act together at the end of all this?
Well, my first question is, who's pissed this girl off? That's my first question. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do regarding this, but I wouldn't pay it. So,
and from what I hear, it's not even, I don't think it's that big of an issue with it just being like the GPU. It's not like their like operating system and everything, or at least from what I'm hearing from people. But
well, no, and they could, they're a ways off. Obviously that the Series X isn't even out now. But they could edit stuff, obviously, but at the same time, it is concerning. Like, a lot of stuff does get kind of leaked out there. Apparently, from what I'm to understand, she had found it on, it's not even on the top of my head. I want to say some kind of computer, if I'm not mistaken, and it was easy to break into. But yeah,
Invader, let me ask you this question: how dumb do you have to be to hold a $100 million ransom on AMD devices? I mean, imagine going to jail for that. Wow, what was she? What is she thinking? Like, I don't understand. I do not understand. some people sometimes.
How do you think they're supposed to get you your money without that not being traced? Like,
it's not even that. That's not even the point. It's the fact that she's holding 100. It's not. Jesus Christ. It's not like, it's it's not something crazy. It's AMD devices, source codes. It's crazy. I don't get it.
How about what could you do with this information? Not to be that guy.
Nothing.
Are you gonna have ultimate control of every Series X out there?
No, well, not a whole lot. They can't really do a whole lot, and again, they can change some stuff. So it's not really, from what I'm to understand. Maybe somebody can correct me in the chat, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal. It's just interesting that, I guess, yeah, Microsoft can lock this down. I'm pretty sure AMD can too. And this is older code from what I'm to understand, because all this goes back to November. I'm just skimming through an article right now. And yeah, there's some stuff leaked on GitHub, maybe 4chan from what I'm to understand. But yeah, they don't really have a lot to be worried about. But at the same time, they gotta lock this stuff down, even if it is older. Like they gotta take some security steps here.
I'm thinking she's asking for a ransom because she already tried to sell it, and nobody wants to touch that thing with a 10-foot pole. Because who wants to get caught using stolen code?
Hey, quarantine's hitting people hard. So I mean,
yeah,
I said the quarantine's hitting people hard. People need money.
God.
Well,
Jeez.
yeah, well, according to AMD, from what they're saying, while we are aware of the perpetrator has additional files that have not been made public, we believe the stolen graphics IP is not core to the competitiveness or security of our graphics products. We are not aware of the perpetrator possessing any other AMD IP.
Now, if I was a spokesperson, and believe me, I don't have the talent or the smarts to do it. No.
Well, we know you don't have talent, but
exactly. I'll just laugh at their face. Like, go ahead, release it. If that was me, I'd do some like gifts in there. But yeah, never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna make that bold of a threat, at least post a little nugget of something that you have. I mean, $100 million. You're really gonna extort and blackmail. I guess they're going more after AMD here than Microsoft, but still, I mean, when you're talking about a GPU that seems to be in the Xbox Series X, Microsoft's involved here a bit too. But $100 million, really? What are you gonna do with all that money, too? Right?
You're gonna donate it to saving lives from Corona.
Oh my God.
Maybe. I mean, that would be a good use for it, but damn, that's a lot of moolah. Just saying. But
if anything, should just probably get, like, how do you expect to hide $100 million? Like, hopefully she's not in the U.S. They'll find her and put her in prison. Not paying those taxes on the $100 million.
Some deposit it in some Swiss bank account, goes through a couple of other different countries, non-traceable. No, it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, well, apparently the hacker had posted something else with proof and is soliciting bidders for AMD's proprietary IP, but yeah, they haven't really posted anything that like really confirm stuff. So I have a feeling AMD is going to deal with this pretty quickly, but I don't know, $100 million, guys. It's a pretty extraordinary article, pretty extraordinary bit of news. Like, to me, it's something out of a movie, but yeah, just an interesting article all around. But you know what? We will move along here. And last week we had touched on a bunch of PlayStation 5 news last week. One point that we didn't get to, however, was backwards compatibility. Now, originally, Sony had stated that there would be some kind of backwards compatibility support for the PlayStation 5 with about 100 popular PS4 games at launch. Now, they later stated that they believe that the overwhelming majority of the 4,000 plus PlayStation 4 titles will be playable on the PS5. However, PS3, PS2, and PlayStation 1 titles will not be. So honestly, good on Sony for bringing the PS4 titles in. But do you guys think that they're kind of missing out on not bringing over PS3 titles and over onto it?
I mean, they're gonna have PS3 titles, just which ones? It's gonna be one of these Xbox situations too, because Xbox does the same thing. They have a few 360 games out, and they have some Xbox games out. So it's gonna be the same situation. They're gonna pick and choose exactly what they're gonna release from those particular games and systems. So I think they're going to go that route.
I don't know about that. I think they're going to keep PS1, 2, and 3 backwards compatibility where it's at, and that's safely behind a paywall.
Oh yeah, PS Now.
Yeah.
So
it makes some money.
Here's the thing: they have to make the PS4 generation backwards compatible because of the size of people's digital libraries. But that's where I think with PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, it's all going to be through PS Now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean. At least with Microsoft, it's a little bit more of a they've been kind of building it this generation right back to 2015, and they have a whole bunch of their back catalog that you can already play. You just pop a disc in. I know that they only have select titles from the original Xbox, but again, the Series X, you're supposed to be able to play mostly everything.
I haven't checked. Are those older original Xbox games on Game Pass? I haven't seen any.
Some.
I think I've seen like one or two, but
yeah.
The nice thing is about Xbox's backwards compatibility is it's also disc based. Mm-hmm. You could stick the disc because example, the original Overlord game has been delisted. You cannot buy that game digitally, but I went to GameStop and bought it physically, and I could just put the physical disc in and play.
What's a disc?
It's a CD.
Speaking of a great game, Overwatch is Overwatch. Why is my brain on freaking Overwatch? Overlord is a great game. The original title is awesome.
The original title, yeah, I wanted the original title. So yeah, no, I got it. I picked that up. I wanted that in my game library. I saw that it had been delisted, and I was at GameStop. Yes, I still go into GameStop. I try to support the local gaming stores. And I saw they had a copy of it, and I just grabbed it.
I could do an exact replica, the voice work of that little troll thing.
Troll thing, the demon?
I don't know, the demon troll, whatever it is. It's the Overlord!
Yeah, that game was just so out of control back in the day.
Jesus, you're no fun, Centurion.
How am I no fun? What am I? You want me to do it with you?
Yes.
Oh, God, hell no.
Maybe we should all do it on the count of 3.
And crickets.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Too good. But yeah, it would be nice though for PlayStation to be able to play most of their catalog natively. Obviously, you guys did mention the PlayStation Now, which do have a bunch of older titles on there. But I like the pro consumer aspect to what Xbox does. You just pop in your disc, whether it be a 360 game or, again, even some of those older OG Xbox titles. I can play Battlefront. Very convenient, and I really appreciate that aspect to it. And I don't know, maybe it's the architecture with going into it with the PS5. I know that the PlayStation 3, it was a bitch to develop for because of the cell processor. Maybe that has a lot to do with it, that they can't do it natively to the system. And they are going to work around it, obviously, with PS Now from the sounds of it. But in retrospect, it just seems like they're lagging behind in the backwards compatibility aspect, even with PS4 titles, like only 100 select ones at launch. It doesn't seem like they've been working on it for too long, and I'm just kind of blown away by that, since that was a defining feature for the Xbox One this gen.
I'm pretty sure PlayStation
Overlord.
Yes. Here we go.
I'm trying to wake you guys up. Come on.
So I think PlayStation's frustrated at the fact that Xbox has been beating that backwards compatibility drum since they created the emulator on the Xbox One. And I'm pretty sure if PlayStation wanted to have their way, forgive me, this is my opinion, but PlayStation would rather have it where they hit reset and you guys have no backwards compatibility. You got to buy these games all over again so that way they can remaster them for the PS5.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, definitely. I mean, you saw that earlier this gen too, with like Last of Us remasters and so on.
Speaking of that, now I'm not trying to interrupt you, Invader. Forgive me. Let's use Red Dead Redemption, the original Xbox 360 game, for example. When the Xbox One X came out, that game got an Xbox One X enhancement for that console. And, that's one thing I'm wanting to know. Are these backwards compatibility games that PlayStation is going to put out there, are they going to be PS5 enhanced? And is that going to be a free service?
Probably not.
Funny. Good luck with that one.
But they probably aren't getting HDR like Microsoft's adding in.
That's a good question, actually. I have to look more into that. But, just really interesting, the backwards compatibility comments, because a lot of people were curious. They wanted to really dive right into what Sony was saying, because, again, they were only talking about, having a limited amount of games, and then, and then they came out saying, well, we do plan to have at least the PlayStation 4 back catalog, but...
That could be big if they screw that up, because that's everybody's talk of, like, why Xbox can't come back from it now is because people have built up and invested so much in digital libraries with PlayStation. They'll probably eventually get the games, but if they're not there at launch, then that might lead more people to be open to purchasing an Xbox, getting Game Pass, where they have all these games at their disposal for probably pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you said, they're really invested in their consoles more so than what they used to be, because they have these massive libraries, especially digital, right? How many times have you see a sale? It's like, oh, there's the Division 2 for $3, or there's,
dude. Black Friday, easily I'd be spending about $100-120 as soon as those Black Friday sales would start, and buy as many games as I could.
Yeah, I've already moved away from physical. I mean, I really don't have any physical games besides one or two games on my Switch.
I still. Well, you live out there in
the boonies,
beautiful Montana, the boonies. Where you don't even really know your next door neighbor. But anyways, no. I still find good deals on physical games. I actually do enjoy going to the stores and sometimes buying it. Like, I just recently bought Civilization 6 physical just because.
Have you played that yet?
Oh yeah, I like. Yeah,
what is it? I like the series, but
I enjoyed it. I haven't played a Civilization game in like eons, so I like the fact it's like all tile based and it's like a game of chess.
Now, how long is an eon?
Like a millennium.
300 turns. Or something like that. Like you have a set. Basically, the whole game revolves around a set number of turns, and once every player goes, whether it's you and the AI or you and other people you can play, because you can play online. If you haven't already captured all the civilizations by the final turn, it becomes like point based, and basically they start doing all this stuff to see who's the actual winner.
Everyone knows I'm not a winner.
Mm-hmm. Question in the chat, fellas. If you guys had to guess, when do you think is the next time we get PS5 news?
On the heels of any Xbox news. No? Okay.
That's a safe bet. Absolutely.
That is a safe bet. Well,
I think in April, sometime in April.
I think we're going to see some good info drop around May or June. Purely because I know at least Microsoft is going to want to keep that E3 spirit alive and still actually release something around that time frame.
I think Microsoft's going to keep just dropping a little bit, like here and there, keep it going like they've been doing. So that's why I think it's going to push Sony of like they're not going to want to let your competitor just to take all that and you get no publicity.
Well, remember, guys, we're in different territory now because, again, there's no physical conference. There's no E3, so they can play it however they want, right?
Yep.
They can. So they're not constrained to June, to early June. They can go into March. Not March. They can go into May. They can do July if they want to. I mean, obviously, they don't want to leave it too late, but I believe it was what Centurion was saying. I think that they'll just continue like dropping little bits of information until maybe late May. I think we'll hear a lot more from Xbox soon, actually. I have a feeling they're gearing towards really releasing some information sooner.
If they're going to go off of what'd you say?
I was going to say I would definitely, for both of them, I would definitely do it during the quarantine. Because everybody's watching, they're not going to be doing anything out and about. No, they're going to be watching TV, internet, their phone.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're also dealing with people in a very unstable economic situation, and the last thing you want to do is probably start getting them thinking about making a luxury purchase. I don't know if there's like a.
That's where you drop that all-access payment plan.
Oh God,
$20.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Come on down to your local
Microsoft has that going.
Store.
Yeah, if Microsoft has that going.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. But
Sony doesn't have that set up.
If I could only speak to what Xbox did for the Xbox One X. So the Xbox One X obviously was teased off and on, and the actual physical reveal was at 2017's E3, which was in June, and then they had Gamescom in August, and that now they revealed the price in June, and the console went up for pre-order at the very end of their show at Gamescom in August, and it was released in, I believe, the first or second week of November of that year. So August, September, October, November. So you got about a 3-4 month period of time there to build up some pre-order numbers. And that's where I'm kind of wondering, as these console manufacturers get closer and closer to August, I feel like that's where they're starting to really kind of push the limits on how long exactly is an acceptable amount of time to build pre-order numbers.
Mm-hmm. And you also got to look at what Xbox's next games are launching. Like Dreadpool was saying, when's their last game launch? You have Minecraft Dungeons, I believe, releasing. Well, if I'm not mistaken,
I think it's this next month.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think it's April.
I've heard Wasteland 3.
Yeah, Wasteland 3 is in May. Yeah, the end of May. And
there's games released. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you, Invader. Just lately, I've been hearing people be like, "Oh, like Ori and the Will of the Wisps," and is Microsoft's big release of the year. And I feel like that was shot. There's multiple games being released.
Mm-hmm. And that's not even including Gears Tactics as well. So,
yeah. Yep.
So, and I think that. Actually, I'm not too sure.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one, Gears Tactics in April, too.
Yeah, that's right.
I read an article that was saying that game is supposed to be more like Gears of War than people think.
Huh. I would hope so.
Well, there's a lot of people that were worried that because it's an RTS that it's going to not feel like Gears.
People were saying it would be more like an XCOM.
Yeah, it's more like XCOM than like an RTS.
Well, okay. Well, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, pretty much that was what I was going for is XCOM. And that was what a lot of people were worried about, that it wasn't going to feel like a Gears game, because Gears is, let's face it, over the years, it's a corridor shooter.
Yeah. But
what was the other game? Well, the Halo Wars games, they felt like Halo games, strangely enough.
Well, they did a very good job. They did a very good job presenting the world. They kept like a lot of familiar sounds, and
The character Atrioc was sick.
I didn't care for. I don't like those gorilla
Any news
creatures.
on when Phantasy Star Online's dropping in Crossfire X?
Oh yeah, that's right. Crossfire X
or summer.
And Remedy's making the campaign for Crossfire X, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so that's actually an Xbox console exclusive.
I'm playing Phantasy Star. So it's out.
No, I was talking Crossfire X.
It's still beta.
No, it's out.
It's out?
Yeah, you can download it right now.
Oh, okay. Shoot. They didn't really announce that shit. Other than the beta. That's all I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Ooh, you got to get on that, Shock.
Well, I tried it that first time, but you couldn't get in that first beta weekend. And then I heard nothing since then. So it's kind of weird if it's fully out for everyone.
There's a lot of people playing it.
Now, how does it look for being an older game on a Xbox One?
It looks good. I mean, it looks like just a polished older game. That's all it looks like. 4K.
Nice. Now, guys, going on to what will most likely be our last topic, and Remedy, the studio behind Control, Quantum Break, Alan Wake, and what we were just talking about behind the campaign for Crossfire, they have signed a deal with a major publisher for 2 new games set in the same franchise. The first game is a AAA multi-platform game in pre-production, and the second game is a new, smaller scale project set in the same franchise. Now, both are in development for PC, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5. Now, later on the same day that they made this announcement, we found out that Epic Games will be the publisher for Remedy's game. Along with Epic Games also inked deals with Playdead and Gen Design. Gen Design's a studio that did The Last Guardian. So pretty big studios there. So guys, with a big name publisher behind them, what franchise do you think Remedy is working on? Because, I think they're working on a certain psychological thriller, Alan Wake. What do you guys think?
Man. I do want to say something first about, some of the great work that Epic is doing. Tim Sweeney, he's doing a great job over there. I think he's just rewriting the way, games are being published in general. He's basically essentially making these games exclusive, and these studios, they still get to have, complete IP rights, total creative control, and basically the freedom to do what they want. At the same time, it's a partnership, and these games are being developed exclusively for Epic. So, hats off to them. I think Xbox needs to do stuff like this. I know it's not going to happen, but hats off to them. But as far as Remedy making the games, I hope they're making that Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 1 was a great game, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, absolutely. Alan Wake is a game that I've played multiple times. It's one of those games that I bothered to go for all the achievements for, which is, I don't usually do that, but when I'm really into a game, I'm like, you know what? I got to do it. I got to be a completionist.
Now, have you played the 2 DLCs? Have you completed the 2 DLCs?
Yes.
Yeah. Great game.
Oh, absolutely. Have you played the smaller title, American Nightmare?
I have. It's more of an arcade feel than the original Alan Wake, but still, it's still a great game. Good gameplay.
Yeah, it had a horde mode as well, but you know what? It kind of worked. It just, with the whole setting, the whole Twilight Zone feeling they were going with that title, I really, it was, and it kind of felt, I liked it. I liked that.
That's a good game. I just, I'm curious how the story will end in Alan Wake. It's something that, I've been wanting to play. So I'm just curious if they're going to be making part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we all know that they're coming out with an Alan Wake based DLC for Control. And I read an article a few months back that said that Remedy actually wants to put the worlds of at least Control and Alan Wake, and I think it also said potentially the world of Quantum Break. They want them to be taking place in the same universe. These are just different parts of that universe, but this is all stuff that's going down in that world. And that's where I'm wondering if they're going to pursue that with these new games, where they're going to start using these new games to kind of start filling the gaps, at least between Alan Wake and Control.
I hope they don't do that with Alan Wake. I'd like to see it be its own separate entity.
They are. Did you play Control?
I have, yeah.
Now, how did you read all the article? I mean, when did you go through the game reading the stuff?
No.
Okay, so that's where in Control you find Alan Wake's typewriter. They have files on Alan Wake. There's even synapses of what happened on the first game at Alan Wake and at the lake and all that. And so Alan Wake is already in Control. You just have to, like, I did it. I read all the stuff. I went into that game.
Thanks for ruining it for me, Centurion.
That's how they're linking Alan Wake to Control, because the Bureau of Control investigates odd occurrences. Alan Wake, very odd occurrence. His typewriter actually happens to be what they would call an object of power. Just because of his connection with his typewriter, it created that world. And so agents from the Bureau of Control were actually dispatched to help deal with the aftermath of the Alan Wake incident.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. It's pretty neat. I have Control. I haven't booted it up yet because, well, again, game backlog, right? But really interested to see that title. And yeah, Quantum Break. They had teased Alan Wake so much in that game. They had little videos that you could find, chalkboard scribblings. They had all kinds of stuff just hinting. You could tell that Remedy really wanted to push for a new Alan Wake. And why I'm thinking it could be something Alan Wake related was Remedy had a couple of months ago gotten the rights back to Alan Wake from Microsoft. So why would they do that if they had no interest in using it?
Well, I think it has to do with that DLC.
Well, no,
you see the word Alan Wake pretty much slapped on that DLC.
I hope so, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know the DLC I'm talking about for Control, right?
Yeah. Federation.
Yeah, where it shows the AW and like the dude falling or whatever. I think that was what at least the caption.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Hey, remember when everybody thought that Sony was buying Remedy? Doesn't look like that turned out too well now.
What? Sony was going to buy Remedy? Oh God, yeah.
Well, yeah, that whole rumor, they saw, some Sony execs with at the Remedy studio, like, what was it, in the summertime? And, lo and behold, they did not buy.
Hey, speaking of purchases, it's 10 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, it looks like that one's probably... Well, someone said the post was actually from like March 4th that it was supposed to happen. So it happening today is just BS.
Oh yeah, well, that rumor, I kind of figured that was not legitimate. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know which one we're hinting at, but something about Konami and Microsoft working out a deal for Konami's gaming back catalog.
Dude, I will say kudos, though, to whoever wrote that up, because there is some thought that has been put into that.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of detail there.
They definitely did some research into what Konami's been doing and created some credible ideas and stuff. I'm just like, my God, this person's a genius. They need to write novels.
Yeah.
Wake.
Yeah, like, basically, I have the said rumor in front of me right now, and that it would be between 10 p.m. and midnight Eastern time, Microsoft will finalize the purchase of the entire gaming catalog from Konami. The deal they've been working on towards is so expensive for Microsoft that it will single-handedly fund a new manufacturing facility Konami has been wanting to build to focus on new R&D for gambling devices. Now, I gotta say, that's a new one. I like that.
Hey, here's a good question that just popped in my head. With all this situation, with what's going on in the world right now, especially with it originating over in that part of the world, do you think a lot more of these Asian-based companies are actually going to want to start partying with some IPs and start cooperating with some of these American-based companies to kind of get some money flow?
Yeah, I think you'll see some, one or two people get desperate out of this. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna see a few publishers, ones that, may or may not be as financially stable, and like Jeremy said, I don't want to say out of desperation, but yeah, you might see some purchases in the coming months.
I think all purchases that Microsoft makes from this point out need to be announced by Vince McMahon. But he needs to do it how he did it, like when he got WCW. He's all doing the crushing motion with his hands.
What a great salesman, and just a businessman in general. I think he's great.
Well, speaking of that, did you guys hear about WrestleMania? I don't know if you guys are into wrestling.
It's going to be
2 nights. And yeah, it's going to be taking place over 2 nights because I guess they're not supposed to have that many people in a building at once. So they have to divide it into 2 nights. It's all being held at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. For the past few weeks, I have been watching WWE with no crowd. None. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that would be strange.
You hear people talking to each other. Due to the lack of camera crew, the lack of audience and stuff, the announcers have had to start putting more of a role into the show. Like they're actually now part of the show. They're acting. I mean, it's insane. But I'm going to say kudos to at least to the wrestlers that are still doing their job, just like other people around the world. And they are acting like there is people there. They are catering to literally people that are not sitting there. They are catering to the people at home. That's
awesome.
But yeah, it's going to take place, and I'm going to get myself a WrestleMania shirt. If you guys haven't seen them yet, it makes fun of this situation. On the back, it says WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't there. Like it was the actual WrestleMania shirt, but they changed some of the lettering on the back to basically show that no one was there at this WrestleMania. And I'm definitely going to grab one of those shirts for me and my wife just to kind of commemorate this whole situation.
Yeah. That's crazy. I can't even imagine watching wrestling with no fans there. That's crazy.
It's hard. It gets weird. What were you going to say, Invader?
Oh, no, I was going to say, yeah, that would be such a weird experience.
Well, they had The Undertaker come out, and you know how The Undertaker rolls. You know, he comes out, the fog, black lights, thunder, lightning, all these theatrics. And, like, literally, he came out the other night, and I mean, like, music hit. He strolled right to the ring, didn't mess around. I mean, like, it's just like, hey, there's no point in putting on that much theatrics for, you know.
You know what I would do is, I don't know. You can give the impression. I know there's obviously no crowd there, but they can still do some sort of. You know how they had the lights.
Dude, that Mark Snurney crowd.
Yeah, exactly. But they also did something where they dimmed the lights and they focused strictly on the ring itself, without having too much lighting in the crowd.
Well, it sucks that it's being done at the Performance Center because the Performance Center actually has like 7 rings in it. It's a full-blown facility that they use to actually train people before they go to like NXT. Mm-hmm. When we talk about, this is a very small room that this ring is in the first place, and there's foldable chairs that you can see that are empty, but we're talking probably, this ring is probably surrounded by maybe 80 seats. But they're hindered by the fact that literally they can't, like, there's like regulations on how many people can be in a room at one time, and like, there's no way to have an audience unless you, like you say, put like a curtain down, CG it, some kind of backdrop, something. But even then, it's just going to be weird because, you know, you're just used to all that noise and chaos from the crowd, and it's just sometimes so eerily quiet.
But like, they can do something now with the technology nowadays. They can do something now to, like, you know, maybe like green screen the whole freaking and just do, like, you know, just, I don't know.
All right, guys. Before we like head off tonight, I was just kind of curious what everybody's been playing. Like, has anybody been going through their backlog? I know, Jeremy, you were talking about playing a few games recently. What have you been whittling off these days?
You know what? I've been trying to finish Ori. I'm almost done with it. I'm probably about 20 minutes out of Ori. So I'm almost done. And other than that, I really haven't been. I've been focusing primarily on work. I'm pitching right now a couple of ideas, business plans that I think you know, they're gonna appreciate. So I'm working on it.
All right, good stuff. Shock, what have you been what have you been playing these days?
Yeah, never mind. Been playing some Mario Tennis on the 64.
Oh, wow.
My wife likes that game, so it's like one of the few games we can like play with each other. So we're trying to get to the hard level, but those other computers are pretty tough. But she gets into it and starts speaking, like saying, like, getting aggravated, but she speaks in like Spanish because that's probably like the first, like, she's easily fluent. You wouldn't even know in both languages, but nice. It's just funny when she starts yelling about them in Spanish.
Shock, I did get a chance to play that Panzer Dragoon. I play it every night before I go to bed. I grab the Switch and just bring it with me to bed and hit up a few levels and turn it on. It's a great game.
Yeah, I wanted to play it, but I want to pay for the maybe just the $40 physical version, but I don't want to pay for that and the digital. So
yeah, I bought that Sega Saturn. What I'm going to do is we have a as soon as it opens up, we have a framing place, and they have some deep frames. So I'm actually going to put it in a small frame, and just leave it there for
the Switch version.
Yeah, the Sega Saturn Switch version. So yeah, I'll be displaying that sucker.
Nice. Yeah, I know. Well, hey, I know you were really happy when Shock showed that to you. So, Shock, stop making Jeremy buy stuff.
Yes. Please,
yeah, that's the only one I probably would have done it for. Although I kind of feel like if it's only that one and they don't go after the second one or Saga, then it kind of feels like maybe I should have just bought it digital. But
no, it's fun to have. I mean, you're a collector, so it's good.
I know it's just like the one entry from the series, so it just like feels like maybe not worth getting the physical version if they don't make the other two, which would be stupid, completely stupid.
Yeah,
imagine how many people would buy a Saga because that just if you played it, just the whole RPG element, the strategy in it is pretty in depth and it can be so challenging. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Good. I mean, that was one of my favorite games of all time.
Definitely. And Centurion, what have you been playing? I know you were talking about playing Mafia 3 earlier. Has there been anything else?
Honestly, I'm actually all over the place, man. Because I'm trying to find that game that's gonna kind of fill that itch that I have that I don't know what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? But
games.
I'm definitely probably it's gonna be that watch. But yeah, I've also played the Hitman games. Those were actually fun. They were a lot more fun than I thought they were gonna be. Obviously, I've been checking out ESO. They've got the what's it called? The Jesters Festival going on. It's a little thing they do to kind of it's just kind of like stupid stuff. You just run around and do the game that kind of make you laugh with everything that's going on. I think it's actually pretty cool. Player count is definitely up on that game. There is a lot of people in that game compared to what it normally is. But other than that, just kind of all over the place playing Mafia 3. I feel like that game, I'm actually going to complete it out. But also, if you guys want to find me on any kind of social media, YouTube, Xbox Live, Twitter, you can find me at Centurion1307. And you can also find me here on Sundays on TXR. And I also do the Shop Podcast on Saturdays with PTK Blam.
Cool.
I think it's cool that Bethesda's and their ESO games doing that. I mean, I think, lifting people's spirits is paramount,
Oh yeah, you keep going.
Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Jesus.
Oh God.
During the Great Depression, they used the theater industry, and Roosevelt funded the arts. He funded the arts, and because they recognized that people's spirits need to be lifted, as obviously, as well as their support of their financial livelihoods. But
well, you can kind of see a lot of these game companies actually. Not a lot. The ones that come to mind, at least for me, are Microsoft. Game companies starting to do things like Minecraft, releasing educational themed stuff for kids to do at home during this whole situation. Everybody seems to be trying to help contribute in a way to give people something to do. And
that mural movement came at the time period as a way of sharing art, with the most amount of people. It's kind of much like the in New York with the Empire State Building is currently doing. They're lighting up, doing like a light show on the Empire State Building, just as a beacon of light and kind of like all this darkness. So it's good that people are doing those, especially video game developers are kind of lifting people's spirits up. I know people need it now. There's, not to, there's suicides going on right now because people.
God, yeah, we're in some dark times, and
yeah,
to kind of bring it back to gaming, these gaming companies, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Google, Amazon, everybody involved in gaming right now needs to definitely stick to their guns. People right now are at home. They're just rediscovering gaming. Some people are discovering gaming on their cell phone. Other people are rediscovering the Xbox One or the PS4 that's been gathering dust on their entertainment center. Now is the time for gaming to definitely start kind of coming together as an industry to help take advantage of this whole situation.
Or sell your Switch because they're going for top dollar. If you do
Oh my God.
Hey, how much did you sell that Animal Crossing one for, Shock? Tell me.
I'm on I've been watching this. I almost got another one because I was totally going to flip it. But but I was watching it for a friend because there's a now in stock website where it kind of monitors that. I think we're going to sell my OG one he said he'd buy it off of me for $300. That'd go for $400. I could easily flip it for $400. But
that's it.
And that's the OG. It's 3 years old, and they're still going that high.
Yeah, that's a used OG is $400. Shockley, I mean Downer.
Oh wow.
On eBay, yeah. But I was with all the fees, I'm I'll sell it to you for $300. So, but yeah, if you get the Animal Crossing one, that one's going for $540 easy.
Woo.
Damn.
I checked the other day; it was at $400. So I can imagine now.
Oh, that's
So if you've been
get arrested for price gouging, no.
I was it's perfect because I got that Animal Crossing one. I was do I need to really spend that money? And it worked out perfectly because I'm going to sell the OG and get all my money back. So I should have bought 10 of those Animal Crossings had I known that shortage.
Oh God.
Maybe.
Who needs Animal Crossing? I have one.
Yeah. Yeah. Time to get pissed off with Tom Nook again.
Who?
Yeah, that's my Tom Nook coming out. Sorry, guys.
Dude, that guy, he's a shyster, man.
Who is Tom Nook?
For real?
You know what? Get off the podcast, please.
Okay, I will if who why?
Tom Nook is like the Solid Snake of Animal Crossing.
Okay, you're expecting me to know something about Animal Crossing. That's like me expecting you to know something about ESO.
I know about ESO. I mean, I don't know.
No, I meant
details,
like technical detail, like Tom Nook. I don't know who. Yeah, okay,
Tom-
go tell me who
Tom
Abner
Nook is a
Tharn
gaming icon. You need to know who Tom Nook is, man.
How is he an icon?
He's
He's all over like Nintendo. Even when it's not Animal Crossing, they'll like put him out there. He's like their mascot.
Centurion. He's a fucking meme. He's a pop culture meme, and you don't know about him. It's like not knowing who Pikachu is. That's the gravity on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, on that note, guys, I think that about does it for tonight's show. And honestly, guys, I'm really happy with that we got through all these topics. And honestly, like we are really grateful to all the kind folks in the chat, everybody that tuned in and listened to us live. People like Dreadpool, Dinner Primero was here. Michael Monkey Punch, thanks for dropping in, Mikey. Patman Jones, I know you were here for the entirety of the show. Thank you for popping in, brother. Mr. Kima, always a regular. Who else do we have here? Smitty Smith, thank you for joining. Valorian, lots of familiar faces. Other Zinc, and we had Doc pop in. Well, hey Doc, I hope you've been well. Sean Sue,
tell him I want my podcast episodes back.
Thank you, Dreadpool. Thank you.
But awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate the support, and we really appreciate the community. It's very important to us. And remember, guys, if you happen to enjoy tonight's show, then be sure to share it out, drop a like, and leave a comment afterwards, as we appreciate the engagement.
Sorry.
Oh, downer. I know you like listening to me, but come on now, man. But
I do, actually.
Anyways, guys, we will go on to the outros, and we'll start with Centurion. Centurion, buddy, where can everybody follow you? Actually, you already said that, didn't you?
Yeah. I thought we already did the outros. Sorry.
We did, actually.
Well, we were talking about... Yeah, we did not. Yeah.
Sorry, ADD for me is contagious. If you're in the room with me, it's just going to go to hell.
But you know what? I totally... Yeah, you know what? You were right. You did say that. But we will move on to Shock then. Shock, again, buddy, happy birthday. I hope, you enjoyed yourself the other day. Where can everybody follow you?
Yeah, you can find me at Shock Nero on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live, and thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, of course. And Jeremy, where can people follow you and all your Panzer Dragoon adventures?
So you can find me on the Nintendo Switch. No, I'm just kidding. Xbox Live, Downer Space J. That's it.
Awesome. Now, and I am Invader. You guys can follow me on my channel, Invader Gaming, and of course on Twitter at Invader_1986. Guys, I'm already looking forward to next Sunday's show. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you in the chat next week. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.